Good morning. Good morning. I am coming to you from California. And if you are on live on my YouTube channel, yes, you can jump over to my, I totally need to mute this, by the way. I'm coming to you from California, and I'm just doing a quick 15-minute tips for ChatGPT for parents and teachers. So if you're on Instagram, I'm also on YouTube. I'm going to share my screen on YouTube, but I'm going to give you the tips. Hey, everybody, I'm going to give you the tips for ChatGPT here on YouTube. And if you are watching me on Zoom, which, hey, love it. If you're not and you're here, you can jump over to Zoom if you want to see the tips. I'm going to give you actual prompts. I want to give you the prompts that I typically help teachers with, I help parents with, and no, I don't necessarily help them in my current district, but what I do is I have the privilege of helping people look at prompts and use them efficiently and effectively. So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to go and find my prompts because my prompts, I have them in a Google file and I will share those with you later. But today at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 12 Central, 1 p.m. Eastern time, I'm doing a Zoom. And I'm going to give 45 minutes of the beginners for ChatGPT, and I'm going to share some tips and tricks. And then the last 15 minutes, I'm going to give you a Q&A. So you can ask me anything you want. If you want that information, just type the word webinar. You can DM me the word webinar, or you can type the word webinar or register. Again, it's just a webinar. It's quick. It'll be easy, but again, you have to DM me on Instagram to do that. If you are on YouTube, you can go over to, actually, I believe on YouTube, you can actually go to my bio and you can get the link as well. So here are a few tips and tricks, and I'm going to share my screen. Again, if you are on YouTube, you'll get to see what I'm doing. And I like to play in ChatGPT. Hey, everybody, I appreciate you. This is just a quick 10, 15 minutes on tips to help you as a teacher or a parent. And so if you're in ChatGPT and you see me on YouTube, I'm in my free version. I am not in the paid version. The reason why is because I don't want you to feel obligated to where you have to purchase ChatGPT. But honestly, the $20 a month, totally worth it. This is the free version, and I'm going to look at 10 tips for teachers. And I'm going to tell you what those 10 tips are quickly. You can ask ChatGPT about daily reflections, classroom activities, homework assignment creation, engagement strategies, grading assistance, lesson plan development, classroom organization tips, parent communication templates. Yeah. If you have Parent Square, it will create a write-up for you for Parent Square or an email. Number 9, resource compilation, like it'll give you a list of resources for your parents. And number 10, discussion questions. Like if you are having trouble, say you're having trouble asking even kindergartners questions, what we have found in education is that when you ask questions, students can go through what we call productive struggle. So again, I'm in my free version, and I'm going to start with number 10. And I'm going to grab my prompt and I'm throwing it in ChatGPT right now. And I'm asking it, quote, generate 5 discussion questions for, and it gives you either book name, article, or topic. I'm actually going to say 5 discussion questions around or about ChatGPT and ethics for high school. Ooh, yes. So it's generating this is amazing. So if you're watching me on YouTube, you get to see this. If you are on the live, you don't necessarily get to see this, but hopefully you'll jump over to YouTube. MJ Blazy, by the way. So this is what wow. So this was my tip number 10 for educators, but quite honestly, parents can use this tip too. it gives you a list of things that you can actually do. Now, if you're thinking, well, where do I take these? Now, normally I wouldn't show you this, but I'm going to. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy just this part. And I'm going to go to my Google account. And this Google account here, let's go here. And I'm going to go and I'm going to go to Docs because I want you to see that when I go to Docs, I can actually copy and paste this. Yes, you can do this in Microsoft Word, but look, it gives me everything. Now note that you may or may not be able to see this, but typically what I do is clear the formatting. Because the formatting gives you tables and bars around it, and it's in a grid, and that can be harder to copy later. So you may want to do that. And just note that this is what I would typically do in education so that I could see this from that perspective. So again, if you're on Instagram, I'm live on YouTube. Hopefully you're here hanging out on YouTube as well. And I'm just taking what I asked ChatGPT was, and we'll go back to it. My prompt was generate 5 discussion questions for or about ChatGPT and ethics for high school. And these are those discussion questions. Bam, that's it. Now, look, this is the ethics I can change and rename this if I want. I can put discussion. Like I might want to do that at the beginning, not a big deal. So it saves my history here. Now I can continue to put my prompts in the same chat. By the way, this left side is what we call a sidebar. And there are 2 things that you want to know about ChatGPT. 2 things. When I am asking it to do something, like to generate something, I'm giving it a command. If I'm asking it to research something, look something up, tell me a little bit about, I'm querying. Sometimes people hear the word query and they think coding, but those 2 things, querying means to ask it to tell you a little bit about something, and command means to make ChatGPT or tell ChatGPT to do something for you. Okay, so I'm going to go in backwards order. So my next prompt that I recommend, this is a new prompt. It says list some online resources for teaching. Now I'm going to, if you're a teacher, I'm going to push it for NGSS States of Matter, grade 5. Now okay, by the way, you see that it's talking to me, calling me Dr. Mina. So if you're on Instagram, I'm on YouTube as well. And I'm sharing what I'm doing with ChatGPT. And I'm going through a list of prompts just so that you can see what you can ask ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT is a little fear, but a lot of people are afraid of it. So I don't want you to be afraid of it. Yeah, there's some ethics behind it, but I am live on YouTube going through what this looks like. And for those of you that just saw, I asked it, my number 9 was a resource compilation. Like it's giving me a list of resources. So it says, my prompt was list some useful online resources for teaching. And then you get to put what you want in there. And I put NGSS States of Matter grade 5. And it responded to me and said, certainly, Dr. Mina. That's because I went to my settings and I asked it to call me that. You could ask it to talk to you in your first name as well. And so it gives me this information here. Now I'm going to push it a little bit and say, give me the NGSS standard and other locations I can research. Now I'm in the free version. This is my free version. If I were to go into my paid version, it would link to Bing and give me hyperlinks. So know that it will do that for you. So now it's giving me the standard. So see, and just kidding. In the free version, it gives me hyperlinks. I do recall seeing that was an update. So again, I'm on YouTube. If I'm doing a 10 a.m. Webinar so that you can ask me questions about ChatGPT and going over just the basics, and we'll push ChatGPT. I'll show you the free version and the paid version. You'll be really surprised with the paid version and what I can do. But right now I'm just showing prompts, but if you want to join that, it's at 10 a.m. Pacific time. You're welcome to. I'm just doing it as a just as a resource for you. You can go to my DMs and type in the word webinar or register, and you'll get the link. So again, if you're live on if you're live on YouTube, this is what you see. And what is amazing about this is that you can have a lot of fun with what this looks like and what you can do in the classroom. And of course, you can push it a little bit. So let's ask it. We're going to go to a new chat. We're going to ask it another prompt, but this time I'm going to, let's see. Daily reflection. One of the things that as an educator, I recommend teachers, and as a former principal, I recommend teachers start out the day with a reflection piece, meaning ask students how they're doing, what's going on, how was the lesson yesterday, if you could change anything, what would it be, things like that. Now, those are questions that I would just have. So my number one, I did 10 and 9, but now I'm going to number 1. It says daily reflections. This is my prompt. Write a brief reflection about today's lessons, including what worked well, and what could be improved. So you can ask that. And then I would say, this is for grade 10 about, let's go 11, about the pre-calculus introduction. There, just spits it right out. And so here's the thing is that I put a prompt in there and it wrote a reflection for me. Now I'm going to redo this prompt a little bit and say, ask students questions. Make a list of open-ended ones. That was probably not a very good way to say it, but it understands. So, okay. This is what I really, really appreciate. So again, if you're on YouTube, you get to see this. If you're on Instagram and you really want to see it, ignore my messy desk. This is what I'm doing. So I am doing this live on YouTube and I'm here on Instagram. One, I'm getting a little comfortable trying to go live, and 2, this is totally fine. So this is a list of questions you could give as prompts, and obviously if they give you 10 questions, please don't give kids 10 questions, maybe 1. How would you explain the concept of a mathematical function to someone who has never encountered it before? In my current district, which I really love, is that we are trying to really focus on having kids talk to each other. There is research around students talking to other students about their learning. They tend to hear the concepts differently. If you're a teacher and you've been teaching for even 2 years, but we'll go 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and you've taught calculus, I taught science, physical and chemical science in middle school, 8th grade. By the time you get to, first of all, 6th period, 7th period, or by the end of the year, and you've done it 5 or 6, 5, 10, 15 years, we're good at it. Like we know it. And then there's this assumption that kids just learn it the first time. But when they explain it to their peers, that question right there, how would you explain the concept of a mathematical function to someone who has never, that right there is brilliant. Like, think about that. Think about how you can help students learn about their thinking. So if you, again, are watching me here on YouTube live, or if you're on Instagram and you'd like to hear or just come to the webinar, it's at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 12 Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can just type in the word webinar on Instagram, or you can go to my bio on Instagram and just register, and you'll get a personal link for the webinar. And so that's kind of a fun way for you to learn a little bit. So if you're on Instagram, jump over to YouTube. I'm going to continue on YouTube, and I appreciate you, and come and hang out more often. Okay, here. So I'm going to show you something on YouTube. I want to stop sharing my screen just in case you don't see this, because I want to make sure that you are going to see this. So I'm going to stop share and I'm going to move over. I want you to see these prompts so you can actually just grab them if you want. So I'm going to reshare my screen. I'm sharing my screen and okay. So these are the 10 prompts that I have for educators. And good morning to you if you're on YouTube. And I'm going to be demonstrating ChatGPT on a webinar. You're welcome to come if you want. You can go to my bio on Instagram. You'll get a personal link for you, so other trolls don't just jump in. But if you want to learn about ChatGPT, this is a great place to start with some easy prompts. So look, check this out. This is the first one I did. Now I want to give me 5 creative activity ideas for teaching. So let's go back to ChatGPT. I'm going to go to my free version. I'm going to minimize this for a moment. And let's dump this in there. So I just copied it and pasted it. So give me 5 creative ideas for teaching. Now I'm going to say, and I really like talking about science, especially for elementary school teachers in the state of California and in the United States. We get really stuck on teaching English language arts or the language of a discipline and mathematics in isolation. But I am going to ask you to consider integrating some things. So it says, give me creative ideas for teaching. I'm going to put states of matter again, because I like that, for grade 5. I'm also going to say list and GSS standard. Okay. The quotes don't matter. That just happened to be how it was written. So I'm going to just get rid of it so you can see that. Integrate mathematics and writing in this idea. Let's just see what it pushes out, because sometimes we can ask it too much and it'll give us a whole bunch at once. So this is matter, collage, and descriptive writing. Now, this is integrating the writing. Begin by providing students with various materials representing solid, liquids, and gases. When we think of solids, liquids, and gas, I have to just go there for a moment. It is not just water. We can have a solid, a liquid, and a gas, and many things. My favorite is to talk about tin, because tin, if you melt it, immediately it melts, but then the moment it hits the surface, it dries. It becomes a solid. Okay, let's jump back. But don't just think about solid, liquids, and gases when it's just water. But we tend to talk about water a lot because it's easier. H2O, dihydrogen monoxide, is easier to talk about this way. Matter transformation with measurement. Conduct hands-on experiment with students. Students witness the transformation of matter. Again, water's easy to do, but if you are an elementary, middle, or high school, I would push number 2. For number 2, are there other examples besides water? I'm just doing that for you so you can see that. Chocolate, crayons, butter, candles. Okay. Do all of these show these states of matter, including a gas? Okay. Soda. There is one that, again, if you are a teacher, you need to be in a safe space, you need to be in a lab, and you do not need to try this at home. But I do recommend actual sodiums, with goggles and gloves and sodium itself on the periodic table and showing what happens when you put sodium in water because you will get a hydrogen gas because that's a compound. But that is, we're talking, that is not, it's a chemical reaction. And so I don't want you to do things like that. Do the safe ones. I highly recommend them. So these are just some examples. Master craftsmanship, introduce a craft project where students create a model representing the molecules. I like that idea, hands-on activity. And then ask them to describe the bonding and arrangement of molecules in writing. Kids who can read, kids who can hear, means that they can read and hear something or listen to it. But kids that can write about it or speak about it have usually learned it. Remember that. So that's why I added writing. You may even want to write a speaking concept. So let's go back to the prompts because that was kind of a big one. But you know what, even if we don't, I like the lesson plan development. This is a suggested lesson plan development. So let's go to a new chat. Remember, the left side here is your sidebar. These are your previous chats. Of course, it's going to ask you to upgrade. These are your settings. Your settings are right here. You can have a theme. You can do dark mode. Sometimes I like dark mode. I'm going to go back to light mode. You can archive your chats. You can delete all of them. You can do data controls. You can, so many things in the settings. Let's go back to settings. You can customize instructions. This is where I asked it to call me Dr. Mina. And I could even say, write everything in a collegiate perspective, or write everything at a 5th grade level that it's responding. You don't have to put it here because you can actually tell ChatGPT that directly in the prompt. Remember, the message to ChatGPT is a prompt. So you hear people like prompt engineering. That's just fancy word. And remember, you can do two things. You can ask ChatGPT to query something for you, give me some information about, like for example, I could ask it before I ask it to create lesson plans, give me a list of, no, that's telling, that's a command. Wait, tell me about lesson planning and who and research behind why we lesson plan as teachers. So this is a query. We're asking it kind of a question or a statement. And it's telling me from a research perspective, the importance of lesson planning is underscored. Oh, did you notice what I did? I clicked on the screen. And when I clicked on the screen, it didn't move anymore. But if I didn't click on the screen, it would move as it was typing, as it was giving me the information. Effective lesson planning has been linked to increased student engagement, improved classroom management, and enhanced learning outcomes. If you are a teacher and you wonder why kids can't seem to get it together, if you don't look like you're together and you're not organized, they won't be organized. And teaching them how to be organized is actually a skill. There is no assumption that they just bring that to school. And I used to ask my students that, if I went to your house, not that I would do that, and I went to your bedroom, do you feel like it's clean enough where your brain would be clean enough to do your own work? And then I actually would give them a homework assignment saying, I give them extra credit points for cleaning their room or helping their parents clean up. Do you know why? Because one, it was cleaning their brain and helping them become organized. And then I'm teaching them a skill about organizing. And then when I teach it at school, they do it there too. That's just a tip. And it gives you more research. Are there any researchers or authors you can recommend? So Marzano is one. I am starting to think of some other ones there are some other ones. John Hattie, these are some, visible learning. He John Hattie is a researcher, and he gives you all these ideas around why kids learn a certain way and what's the most effective for an individual student or groups of teachers. I would argue that there are more researchers out there. And I think if I go into my paid version, I could get more authors. And we can talk about that in the webinar. If you want to come to the webinar today at 10 o'clock Pacific time, you can go to my bio either on Instagram or here on YouTube and just select webinar, or you can DM me at Mina J. Blazy on Instagram and get the link. So this is actually the command: structure a basic lesson plan using writing for grade 5. Find I'm just going to put California state standard and include. Now I'm telling it what to do. Now I'm commanding it, giving it a command. So learning objectives, California state standards. I mean, so here's the thing. This lesson plan, if you, let's say you have Reading Wonders, the resource. By the way, the state of California and the United States, our curriculum is defined as the state standards, the resources, the products. That is a resource that you buy, like Reading Wonders. We would even, yes, you can call it a curriculum, but the curriculum is actually the state standard. The other thing that I just quickly want to share about the state standard is that, or the paid version with the state standard, if you have a PDF or part of or a screenshot of, you can upload that into the paid version and say, using this state standard and the resource that I uploaded, help me organize this lesson plan where students are engaged in having conversations. So I will do that in the webinar today at 10 a.m. And I know that I gave you just a little bit about what it is that ChatGPT can do for you. And it may be like, that's just too much. You can go into ChatGPT, and I'm just going to go in there one more time. And I'm going to give you something that is just something simple. Something simple. Tell it tell it what you do. Tell it what you like to do. Tell it, the Super Bowl is coming up, and I would like to have people over. What is a great idea for me to have people over and make sure they leave at a reasonable time? Now, I asked it to do something. You could argue that this is a command. You might have structured activities. And I'm going to say, now I'm going to give it a plan. So I queried it, asked it the question, give me a plan. Pre-event invitations. Oh, no, 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 no. It knows me because I like to cycle. I'm not saying everybody else does, but this is really funny. What if you live in the snow? Oh, that's funny. It's like organize a morning or early afternoon cycling excursion, either scenic location, research, inspired decor. Oh my gosh, this right here, Super Bowl trivia. I asked it this because I was like, I think I want to host Super Bowl. I think I want to host Super Bowl. I want to host Super Bowl. Anyway, crafting station, like for kids, maybe. Oh, just how about just crafting? I think I like crafts. Group discussion, food and refreshments. Like you can even push it and say, list the ideas within the ideas here. Ooh, I'm going to do that. So you can ask it some simple things just about your daily life. Like here's the thing. I don't like my bedroom decor. give me the cheapest way to redecorate. I like, I didn't spell that right. You don't need to spell it right. I like Home Goods and Pinterest. And say Pinterest and the local shops. I live in California. It's telling me what to do. Okay, give me a plan. Do I need to give you colors? I'm just saying, like, there's so many things that you can do with ChatGPT. And yeah, there are some ethics that we should have conversations around. I'll go back to this original one that I showed you with the prompt. This was my generate 5 discussion questions for ChatGPT and ethics for high school. Like this would be a topic in the classroom. Um, this is something we need to talk about, the ethics of ChatGPT, because it is going to clearly, and I'm going to stop sharing here. ChatGPT is going to and has already changed the scope of not just education, but the business world. It can write a quick email for me. I can, ask it to reorganize my email. It can help me think more. It can free up time that allows me to become very, very productive. I still will read my books. I still will read my articles. But after I've done that, I could ask ChatGPT paid version and say, give me an outline of this. I want to have a discussion about this book. And these are some things that I'm thinking. These are my notes. Throw it in there. What are you thinking? And you can push it a little bit. So try to take a step back. But as far as it changing the scope, remember in 1995 when Google and search engines, we had Netscape and Yahoo and Google, it changed the parameter of education. Wikipedia did. There was a point where we're like, don't use any resources or works cited material from Wikipedia. Now we do. Take a moment and just have fun with it and learn with it. Because Google kids were copy cutting, pasting, but we didn't teach them that, hey, by the way, you just sent me a paper and there are hyperlinks. We need to teach children how to use it. We need to teach your business associates, the people you work with, what it's doing. Because I'm telling you, students are going to use it whether you want them to or not. So you might as well teach them some ethics behind it and giving them their own voice so that they're not using AI's voice, because AI's voice is a group of people, GPT, generative pre-trained transformers that get together and program it. And I don't mean just the Python programming. I mean, they get and they say, no, say this, no, say this. So we need to teach children how to use it appropriately so it's their own voice. And 2, teach kids how to become programmers literally so that we have a diverse community who's training ChatGPT. So thank you so much for listening and watching, and come back to my channel often. I appreciate you.